automatically streams, and in fact, it can be live streamed too. So we can have an audience of thousands watching us. Not that anybody watches this, but so that's it. Let's see, we've got our intention. So again, with this meeting, it's going to be two parts. The first part is the prototype of testing the empathy circle, and the second half is the redesigning it. So to begin with the empathy circle, we're going to set our intention, and the broad intention is to develop an empathic way of being. And then we're going to go into our personal intentions, and mine is to build tools. What I'm really interested in is to build tools that can be used to foster empathy, and also I'm looking at kind of making connections with people who are interested in empathy and building an empathy movement. And also for this group, this meeting, I'm really wanting us to practice empathic listening and learn the empathy circle process. So that's another intention. So we could just go down, Jacob, if you'd like to share yours. And you're muted.
Yeah, can you? It's
yes.
Okay now?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm looking to actually learn more about the listening part of the empathic listening, and actually understanding the process of it, learning some new tools around it, trying to practice some of those tools, and building those tools as a into my daily life, and then try to improve improve myself with these tools. So that's roughly the idea that I have from the workshop.
Okay, great. Sherry?
So mine is to learn the human-centered design process, understand it a little bit better, and also the empathy, how empathy plays a role in that process and developing that.
Okay, Sophie was next. If you just go down the list.
Yeah, so my goal is to, first of all, learn the methodology of human-centered design and what is it, and then being able to go through this entire design process and then apply it to real problems like what we're doing to improve empathy of ourselves and also people around us.
Okay. John?
Okay. Basically, I'm interested to understand more about empathy and probably practice more and improve it through this human-centered design process. And I think my area of application more about relating to people of diverse experience, culture, background through an empathic way of being.
Okay. Andreas, you're muted still.
It's troubles with. I still have a little bit troubles with the connection, but I tried to get this checked. So there were some interruptions before.
One thing you can do, Andreas, is take the bandwidth down a little bit. There's you know, up above there's a row. There's the hang up button, and then a gearbox, and then there's the, like a triangle, and you can set the bandwidth down a little bit lower, take it off HD, and that might give you more bandwidth for the audio.
Okay. Okay. So you can hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Actually, with the intention I wrote down, I've focused a little bit on today's meeting. There I'm interested in moving forward in the human-centered design process, because we have started or done already some first steps the last meeting. Yeah, also see how the empathy cycle has already developed. Maybe we have some changes already. And yeah, also to learn a little bit more about the other team members, especially Sherry, as she is new this time, to hear a little bit about her.
Okay, great. So do those intentions work for everyone? If we get a thumbs up and agreement on our intentions, we'll light the empathy intention candle just to hold that intention here while we're talking. And so you haven't. I thought everybody had introduced each other. So since you haven't, sounds like I couldn't quite remember. So maybe we should go around and introduce ourselves since Sherry. Oh, that's right. Sherry wasn't here last time. So I'm Edwin Rutsch, Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and I've been working on the theme of empathy for about 8 years. Build a large website with a lot of information about it, and I'm always looking for new ways of fostering empathy. And this, I'm really excited about human-centered design as a framework and a foundational tool for teaching empathy. Since since design starts with empathy, if we work on empathy using design, we're actually kind of helping the whole design process as well. So I'm really excited about design and wanting to make it a core part of what it is that I do. So if anyone else would like to go ahead and share, maybe Sherry, since others hadn't met you yet.
Sure. So I'm Sherry Matheson. I live in Calgary, Alberta, which is in Canada, and I am a certified coach. I work with teams and organizations, and I also coach people one-on-one. Very interested in the topic of empathy, having been trained in Brene Brown stuff around shame and vulnerability and that. So, and Edwin has interviewed somebody that, Kristen Neff, who has written a book on self-compassion, which really aligns with all the work that I do with clients. I feel like it's an underpinning thing that shows up constantly in the work I do. Yes.
Thank you. So just introduce yourselves, don't wait for me.
Okay, my turn. So basically, my background is more in engineering, but although I'm engineering, but I'm more attuned to religion and philosophy. That was my earlier background when I was much younger. My exposure to empathy was in a church setting where social psychologists taught us about listening, active listening. So we had sometimes critique our role play. And of course, there are other instances of empathy that I may encounter during my interaction with people. But all in all, I think my interest is more in how to apply empathy in practical situations at the workplace, at home, and out there in the society. Yeah, that's it.
I can speak about myself. So my name is Jacob. I'm based in India. I work in an internet product design company. So we build products, and I'm involved in product design. So one of the key elements of product design, the start, as Edwin was mentioning, is actually understanding the requirements, understanding what the customers want, what's the background, how they're going to use the product, etc. So there's quite a bunch of things, and the essence of all that is actually listening to them, walking in their shoes, understanding the customer. So I think this is a very important topic, and I hope that this course will provide the tool sets, the practice that is needed, and the exposure that I hope I can gain from this. So that's why I think this is an important part important course. Yeah.
Hi, this is Sophie. So currently I live in Berkeley, California, very close to Edwin, actually. I'm originally from Beijing, and I moved to US for school and then stayed for work. Currently, I work for another online education company called Coursera. I do operations at Coursera. I'm really interested in this topic, human-centered design, because I've never learned design before, so I'm excited to learn this new tool as another way of thinking. Also very interested in the topic of empathy. I'm interested in like how to improve empathy of myself, and also if we can have this tool, we can help others as well. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Andreas? Are you still there? Do you hear us? Okay, so it looks like he's having trouble connecting. So we'll catch up with you once your audio is working, Andreas. Okay. So what we can do next is start with. See, we had, as I understand, we were going to do. Sophie, you were going to lead a little 5 minutes of yoga exercise. Was that? So maybe we'll start with 2 minutes of meditation, and then you can lead 5 minutes of yoga. And I think John was going to play some nice music in the background.
Yeah.
Do you want to start now with a little bit of music, or?
You want? Okay, I can play the music right now.
Yeah, for our meditation. Okay, so we're going to take. Yep, we hear it. So we're going to take 5 minutes to 2 minutes to just close our eyes, get a little bit of relaxation, just tune into our own selves and listen to the music. Okay, let's take a deep, long, deep breath. And exhale and come back to the circle, the group. Thank you for that music. I see that Andreas is back. Would you like to do an introduction? Everything working for you? Andreas, you hear us? You could maybe you could turn off your video, perhaps.
My computer. I can hear you.
Do you want to do a quick introduction? Okay, looks like this setup is still not working well. So okay, then let me just get the timer set here for 5 minutes. And okay, Sophie, you wanted to lead
Yeah.
us in some kind of exercises, or
Great.
just follow along?
First of all, actually, I wonder how many of you have practiced yoga before?
A little bit.
Yeah, basic yoga.
Okay, and like, how's I wonder if you guys have a big space or it's quite confined. We probably cannot do very complicated poses, so maybe just like some standing poses that don't
Yes.
require us to like lay on a mat or anything. Let's see. Maybe if we can just all stand up. Let me see, where should I put my... yeah, if we can all stand up. Let's see. Can you see me?
Yes.
Probably only my upper body, but that's fine. I should probably stand a little. Yeah, maybe, so for yoga, it's also, breathing is actually more important than the poses we do. So we'll start with also 3 inhales and exhales. So we'll put our hands in front of our heart, raise it to the center, and then we'll do inhale, and then when we exhale, we will all. So I will just show how to do it. So. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we'll do this 3 times. Okay, inhale.
Sophie, you need to talk towards the mic, huh?
And Jacob, if you could mute too, as we're getting the fan sound.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Is this okay? Because I couldn't have my my headphones on. I'm very far away from my laptop. Okay. Okay, so we'll start. Let's take a deep inhale. Exhale. Okay. Does this feel better? Okay, if you can hear me. Next, we'll do a very simple pose called the mountain pose. So for mountain pose, it's basically we're just standing straight, and your feet, your toes, will be touching. Your left feet and right feet will be touching, and then you just put your hand aside of your body, and then just stand straight. And then we'll do 3 rounds of inhale and exhale here. Okay. Inhale and exhale. You should be able to hear your breath. Inhale again. One last round. Okay. The next pose will be what we call the warrior pose. We'll do the warrior 2, which is So we will first your feet apart. Can you see me? Actually, yeah. Right. First of all, put your feet apart, and then we'll start with the left feet. So spin your left feet 90 degrees outwards, and then your right feet just there. And your left knee should be bent, and then it can be a little, probably not over your toes, but it can be bent. So make sure you're comfortable with this position, and your upper body should be like this. So when you feel like you're rooted on the ground, and we can add the hand. So and make sure your hand, yeah. And then you can put your eyes focused, maybe on your middle finger, and then we can stay here for 3 rounds of inhale and exhale. You can do it on your own. I don't need to guide you. Okay, the next pose, if we add, so is everyone comfortable here?
Yep.
The next one, we can add a little more to this pose, which is to put your left hand on your left knee, and then your right hand in this stretch. Everyone? Just do your best and don't And we'll do 3 rounds of breath here. Okay, now you can come back forward, and then we'll switch to the other side. So right now, let's bend our right, left. When your feet are ready, and add your hands. So we'll do 3 rounds of inhale and exhale. Next, let's put our right hand on the right knee and left hand left. And 3 rounds of inhale and exhale. Okay, come back. Warrior 2, and then we can come back to this. Is this enough for everyone for today? Okay.
Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah,
Thank you for following me.
yeah, that was nice. A nice stretch. I just let you catch up, Sherry. That was we were talking about last time about the anxiety of getting started with a new group, and this was one of the things that we came up with is to have some music and to do some yoga as a way of relaxing a little bit. So,
Excellent.
Thanks, Sophie.
thank you, Sophie.
Thank you.
I feel well stretched.
Thank you.
So we want to go into our empathic listening process, and as we did last time, we're using the reflective listening. So one person can share and select someone to speak to. That person will reflect back, and they'll have up to 6 minutes to talk. And so the topic today is, why is empathy important to you? And you can share about why empathy is important, or you can just share whatever's alive with you. So whenever we do these empathy circles, you can speak to the topic, or you can speak about what's really going on with you energetically and is alive for you. So that's always an option. So would somebody like to begin? Is there someone who would like to start with the process? You just select someone to speak to, and we get going for the next about 40 minutes.
I can start, and I'm gonna Jacob.
Yes.
So empathy is important to me.
Oh, sorry, can I just mention before we start, I also want to mention that we do have a share, I forgot to mention this before, is we have a shared Google for our minutes, and I'm going to put this into the chat window. And this is a document where we can write any topics into. So for us who were not in the process, we're our silent listeners, we can keep minutes here or transcribe what we're hearing. So thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
No worries. Thanks, Edwin. So empathy is important to me, and I'm just thinking about an incident that happened today, and this is a very timely topic, empathy, because I need to really be empathetic to where this person is coming from. And I guess, so what's important about that for me is that then it's like stepping in their shoes, like really understanding where they're coming from, their perspective. And
so, Sherry, you're saying that you would like to see, or your empathy for you is like walking in the other person's shoe, or seeing it from the other person's view, is it?
Yeah, and I think what's important about that is that well, for me in particular, is that it's going to help me not to get defensive and get defensive and all, like feel like I'm being attacked, or so to stay out of conflict, I think is maybe what the word is. Yeah.
So you're saying that you'd like to see yourself not in conflict, or your views not in conflict, and that's what you feel is empathic listening.
Yeah. So I'm empathic. What I feel is important to me around having empathy and being more empathic is that it's going to help me not to get into conflict and feel like I'm being attacked. So it's given me another, to really tap into that person's perspective. I guess also be curious of where they're coming from and not to assume things.
Right. So you're saying that you're trying to see where that person comes from, where his viewpoints are rooted in, and you're trying to not pre-assume that there's a conflict vis-a-vis your views, and that's what you feel, right?
Yeah, I feel heard.
Hmm.
Thank you.
So can I start?
Yes, whoever was the listener, it's then their turn to select the next listener. So you are the speaker, you select who you would like to have listen to you.
Okay, so I can, Andreas, are you on?
I can hear you clearly, and
okay, great.
I ask you if to confirm if you can understand me.
Yes, I can understand you quite well.
Okay.
I can hear you very well. That's fine. Maybe I can speak and you can listen.
Mm-hmm.
So empathy for me is understanding the other point of view, and so it's not listening itself. It's not hearing. It's listening. So I'd like to understand not only the words that the person is saying, but also the meaning behind it.
Okay. So for you, empathetic listening is more than only listening, but to understanding the other person and getting their perspective, their point of view.
Yes. The other thing I feel is also important is the context of the of what is being said. So for what is the context of that of what's being said? Where is the speaker state his facts from? What is it rooted in? These are some of the questions that also come to mind.
Mm-hmm. So for you, it's also important to find out the environment or the background of what is said from the other person.
Right. Also, when I listen, I try to also understand whether the user is emotional, has an emotional state of mind, which might influence what he or she says, which might not be what he means. So I also try to get a feel of that emotional element.
Okay, so you also want to dive into what the other person's feelings are about what he says, or he or she.
Right. So this can possibly be made out by a number of signs, including the body language, the spoken word, the person's movement, etc., etc. So I think all these signs will tell me are actually listening is not about the words alone, but bringing all these signs together as well.
Okay, so listening to the other person to you means more than only listening to the words, but also listening to what you see from the other person's body language.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've said my I've said my part.
Okay, thanks.
I've completed. Yeah. Thank you very much, Andreas.
Okay, then it's my turn to choose whom to talk to, and yeah, I would ask Sophie.
Okay, I'm here.
yeah, I think I will focus a little bit what's alive within me right now. Because yeah, I'm a little bit. Actually, I'm happy that I'm now in this successfully in this conference, in this empathic cycle, and that I could overcome the technical troubles that I had before. Yeah, there was some worries before if well, what happens, how can I make being heard, also because I could hear you clearly before, but I think you couldn't hear me. And
should I repeat here?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm hearing is you're very happy that you overcame these technical difficulties and finally you're able to join this empathy circle, and you're very happy that you're able to hear other fellow participants and also be heard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and there was a very interesting moment within me where I felt, well, it's okay, yeah. If it doesn't work this time, yeah, there is another meeting next week, and that it would be okay even if I miss this time for technical issues.
Yeah. So when when you were in the technical difficulties, and then you were reassuring yourself that it will be okay if it doesn't work out this time, because next week you're able to come back and join this circle again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I was a little bit, I felt a little bit sad that I could not participate so intensive in this nice music you had at the beginning and your yoga exercise. But yeah, I was a little bit in a conflict also. Well, should I work also or do the exercise, or shall I fix my computer issues?
What I'm hearing is you felt a little sad that you missed our practices at the beginning of listening to music and also my yoga practice. But what I'm hearing is you're debating whether you should join the practice or you should fix your computer.
Yeah. I also was a little bit worried if I could turn the microphone on to check if you can hear me now or not, because I did not want to interrupt your explanations.
Also, you were debating whether you should turn on the microphone and then test your computer, but you're afraid that it may interrupt our practice or what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as I said already at the beginning, finally I'm absolutely happy to that everything works fine, and yeah.
Yeah, so now you're very happy that everything works out, that you're back.
Exactly, and I feel absolutely understood. It's great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so my turn. So it'll be John.
Okay.
Yeah. So empathy, to me, why is it important? Because I think empathy will help a person become more open-minded and not just live with their own familiar environment, but be able to understand a broader world and different cultures and types of people.
Okay. So I'm hearing from you that you consider empathy as more about extending your connection with other people of different background, culture, and diverse experience.
Yeah, because I think without empathy, so I think everyone comes from a different background, and that's their own environment that they're very familiar with. If they're not empathetic, they will be very narrow-minded because they cannot understand what other people are doing, why they do certain things, and why they say something like that. They will be just using their own set of assumptions to assume or to judge other people if they're not empathetic.
Okay. So from what I heard from you, you're saying that empathy is more about understanding the other person, not what you perceive them to be.
Yeah, I think empathy is more. I was saying without empathy, we'll be very narrow-minded. We're just living in our own world, but not tolerant enough to people that are different from us.
So from what I hear, you're saying that empathy will help you to connect with people and live with them in harmony?
Yeah, kind of like that. But also, I think more important is for the person or for yourself or for ourselves, it helps you to be more open-minded. So to live with people in harmony, it requires that you be open-minded to accept different things. I think that's important. So to get along with people or to live with other people in harmony, you yourself need to be open-minded and to accept and to tolerate different things.
Okay, so what I understand from you that you're saying that empathy skills will help you to relate to people at a deeper level, learning to accept them as who they are, and hopefully to live in peace and as part of their maybe their group and helping them and helping you to connect and and uh, and feel with them more of like be living in peace in a peaceful environment with them.
Yeah, I think to me, empathy is more of my own personal development goal. It's an area that I want to work on. I want to improve myself.
Okay, so what you say in summary is you do this course in this empathy circle to improve yourself, to better yourself as a person.
Yeah, better myself as a more empathetic person.
Yeah, good. So you want to be a people person. Am I right?
People person, it's probably too broad, but I guess specifically I want to be more empathetic.
Yeah, okay. So you want to connect with them at the feeling level.
Excuse me?
You want to connect with them at the feeling level, not just at the cognitive level, but at the feeling level. Able to feel what they think and how they and feel their emotion and willing to connect with them at that level.
Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah, if I want to, so if I become more empathetic, then I'm able to connect with other people on different levels. That's my goal. So I want to improve myself in that area.
Okay. Yeah. So that's great. I guess you can work on it, and we will help learn for each other during this empathic circle session.
Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. John, now you can select someone.
Can I talk to Sherry?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Basically, I was thinking, when you talk about empathy, what is really involved? No, do you just involve the feeling, or do you involve the whole person? Whole person meaning what he is as a person. I mean, mentally, socially, psychologically, and how will that reflect his well-being? No, his personal well-being, and his mutual well-being with other human being. So I was thinking along that line and of how to have a more holistic approach to empathy.
So you're thinking, John, of a more holistic approach around empathy.
Yes, that's right.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah, just to elaborate maybe. So for example, if you talk to somebody who maybe feeling sad or disappointed or whatever, how do you pick up that kind of emotional cue? No, not just the words that has been said, but also his visual cue, his non-verbal cue, and to his tone of voice, his expression, facial expression, and how to mirror that and feel that with him or her.
So, John, what I'm hearing you say is that the holistic approach to empathy then is looking for those emotional cues, those facial cues, body language, that sort of thing?
Yes, that's right. So, but more important is what is the end goal of empathy? I mean, what you want to achieve through this empathic process. Are you going to be sort of lending a helping hand to the other person who's have maybe feeling sad or disappointed or worried? So I mean, what's the end goal or what you want to achieve?
So, are you personally asking me what do I want to achieve from?
No. In the empathic process, no.
So,
What you really want to achieve and what's our end goal?
so what's the end goal? Like, what's the what is a person wanting to achieve with empathic listening?
Yes. So I mean, but connecting with another fellow human being, I mean, not just at the feeling level, but also at other levels. That as I mean, only also in the cognitive level, at the social level and physical level.
So, if you're connecting empathically with someone on a social level, a cognitive level, is the question then like what then? Like, what do you do with that, or?
What I'm saying is that how do you develop the skills that are necessary to achieve all this holistic approach to empathic way of being?
Can you say that again, John?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me, right? Very
Yes.
well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your voice is fine. It's just I'm not clear on.
Okay. I'm saying that how do you like develop the skills necessary to able to achieve the holistic approach to an empathic way of being? For example, in empathic listening session, how do you achieve that holistic approach?
So what I'm hearing you say is developing the skills to empathic listening and taking it to a holistic approach. Is
Yes,
that?
yes, yes. So just reflecting and thinking through what are the skills that can be developed in this process.
So I hear you're thinking and contemplating and just reflecting as to those skills to take it up to that holistic approach.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I'm fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, my turn. Edwin.
Yay!
Yeah, just hearing everybody's different, I don't know if it's perspectives, but thoughts and ideas around empathy, and that has got me thinking of my own thoughts around empathy. And one of the things that, I don't know, it's what the word was exactly. I'm trying to remember the word because it kind of triggered me. Tolerate. I know for me, I don't know if I want to tolerate something. If that's my particular goal with empathy, I think it's more, okay, so I get your perspective and I understand where you're coming from, and yeah, so I don't, yeah, because there's certain things that I don't want to tolerate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that by hearing other people talk about empathy, it's kind of stimulate your own thoughts about empathy, and you heard the word tolerate, and it's like you don't want to just tolerate something when you empathize with someone. It's kind of, as you want to go beyond tolerating is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just, the word kind of hooked me, and so I'm curious about that and how it relates to empathy and that for me. But yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing you just heard the word and tolerate, and the word tolerate kind of hooked you, and you're just sitting with the question of the relationship of empathy and tolerance.
Yes. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Oh, is there more? Is there more around that?
Yeah, so I'm just curious as to, I guess, maybe how that, with our team, what their thoughts are on that word tolerate and empathy. Yeah, because I don't, how do I want to say it? It's like, empathy for me is...
Sherry, if you want, I can probably chip in a bit.
No, actually, at this point, it's her turn to speak to me, so you're okay. Like a silent listener, and you have no voice in this until it becomes your turn in terms of the process.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we just have to learn the process. It's part of the learning process. Don't worry about it. It's just we all need to learn, so don't worry about it. So, okay, you had more thoughts that you were thinking about in terms of this, Sherry, and I was hearing that you're like wondering what other people think about the relationship of tolerance and empathy.
Yes, I'm curious, and I know for me, and like empathy, being more empathetic is not so much about tolerating something. It's I guess it is about moving beyond the tolerance. Like, yeah, it's getting past that. Because I just feel like to tolerate something, then that doesn't feel good with me. It's like I'm tolerating this, and it's not okay. It's like,
Yeah, it's like you're thinking about the relationship of empathy and tolerance, and you're seeing that empathy maybe goes beyond tolerance. You don't want to just tolerate something. You're kind of wanting to see that maybe empathy goes beyond that, and you're kind of exploring that.
yeah.
And curious. There's a curiosity. I was hearing a curiosity that you're feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to. Yeah, I'm curious as to, I guess my thinking right now is that I feel empathy can get us beyond the tolerance. That we're not just accepting that this is the way things are. That we're not just tolerating things. That empathy can get us beyond that. So. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you're just thinking about that and about empathy and tolerance, and you're seeing that empathy can maybe get us beyond tolerance, and it takes us beyond tolerance, and you're just kind of, that's just an insight that you have and something you're thinking about.
Yes. Thank you. I feel fully heard, and I don't feel as triggered.
Okay. So I'm hearing that you're feeling fully heard, and that being fully heard, you don't feel so triggered now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there more, or do you feel complete?
Yeah, no, I feel complete.
Okay. Then I'll speak to Sophie. And yeah, and anybody else can write into the document too to transcribe. Yeah, if you want to restate that.
Just to let you know, Edwin, that I tried to go in there into the document, and my computer froze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's why I went back in.
Okay, having trouble with that document freezing. So, okay, so let's see, where am I? Yeah, I actually agree with Sherry about empathy and tolerance, that I think empathy goes beyond tolerance. That tolerance is putting up with somebody, and empathy is really hearing and having a deep connection and understanding for someone else, and it can transcend tolerance. That's my sense as well.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you agree with Sherry on the point of empathy and tolerance, and you think empathy goes beyond tolerance. So tolerance to you means to put up with something, but empathy to you is to be able to understand and transcend tolerance to a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah, even a deeper level of understanding and actually connection. I think it's connection and understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's empathy is the ability to connect and understand the person, not just tolerate.
Yeah. So there's that part. The other part I was noticing is a little awkwardness with the empathy circle. And I guess I'm feeling a sense of wanting to reassure everybody that we're just learning, we're just practicing. It's going to be a bit rough to begin with, but that's part of the learning process. So we just keep doing it over and over again. We'll all get better at the empathic listening.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is you also notice that there's a little awkwardness happening when we were doing the empathetic listening, and you wanted to reassure everyone that this is just the start of our practices, and it will get better as we do more.
It's an ongoing, there's experts like Carl Rogers who did this empathic listening in the therapeutic realm, and he says at first it looked very easy, but the more we got into it, we realized how difficult and complex it really is.
Yeah, so you were saying empathetic listening is an ongoing process, and like Carl Rogers, he said that when you initially got into it, you felt it's easy, but then you realize it's a very challenging process.
Yeah, and I guess the part is I'm wanting kind of to reassure everyone about it, that just be reassured. Hang in there, keep going. You keep learning and keep growing. So I guess it's that reassurance I'm trying to convey.
Yeah. So the point you're trying to convey to everyone is to reassure everyone to keep going, to hang in there, and
keep practicing. It's practice is really what it takes.
Okay. Practice, 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 practice.
Yeah, and so then I'm thinking, I feel my mind go to why is empathy important to me? And I think empathy is important to me for deep connection. That I see empathy as the gateway to really deep, beautiful connection.
So why empathy is important to you is because empathy is a way to deeply connect with people.
Yeah, I see empathy as the way that we integrate. Like we have, my neural network, your neural network. We all have these different brains that are neural networks. And empathy is the process by which we integrate those neural networks.
Okay, so you think empathy is a way to integrate different people's neural networks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our brains, all the networks there. And also empathy is important for integrating our own brains. Like there's different pieces of our brains, and there's like the self-empathy, which integrates different conflicts within us as well. So it integrates internally as well as interpersonally.
So empathy integrates not only externally with other people, but also internally with yourself, because your different parts of brains may have like conflicts.
Exactly, yeah. And so the other part is why empathy is important, and it comes down to it feels damn good.
Okay, so why empathy is important? It feels very good.
Yeah, if I'm in conflict and my body has cortisol and has stress hormones and feeling disconnected or alone, that when I connect with others, that it has that feeling of oxytocin comes in, and that feels really good. So it's kind of at the core. It's that, I would say, it's the feeling. It's that good feeling that is why empathy is important to me.
So another aspect is empathy is important to you because when your body is in conflict and then you connect with other people, it makes you feel really good and relaxed. So that good feeling is why empathy is important to you. Yeah,
exactly. I feel fully heard. And we're at the point where we're going to transition to the next phase. But before we do, I want to just know, does everyone else feel heard enough to your satisfaction, or is there something somebody feels that they need to say that's before we move on? If you're feeling like okay, can you have a thumbs up, or if you need to say something, I can just do a little reflection. Thumbs up, everyone feels okay?
Maybe I can add a little
bit
of my comment to the empathy and tolerant. I guess so. Yeah, I guess it was me when I used the word tolerate. So when I say tolerate, I think maybe we have different understanding of the word itself, like what it means to be tolerant. I guess. To me, tolerant is more like a neutral word, but I feel like to you or to Sherry, tolerant is a negative word. It means put up with stuff. And so I guess it's a different understanding of the meaning of the word. So when I use tolerant, I was thinking it in a positive direction of like when I see something different, I refrain myself from judging. So I can have this chance to understand the other side. So I guess that's what I meant.
Okay, so what I'm hearing there, just to reflect, is that you're wanting to clarify about the meaning of tolerance for you. You're feeling that you have a meaning of tolerance that is really about understanding people, and I think there was something else, but you're seeing that as a positive aspect, whereas you feel that Sherry and I were seeing it maybe in a negative way, and you wanted to have a sense of clarity of how you see tolerance.
Yeah, that's what I want to clarify. I guess when I say tolerant, I was thinking a word in Chinese that's more accurate than tolerant, but I probably didn't find a proper word in English. But I guess that's probably it's our difference in understanding. That's one thing. But another thing. Oh, sorry.
So one thing is that you're thinking of a word in Chinese that's similar to tolerant, but a little bit different, and maybe more accurate about what it is you're trying to express.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one aspect. But another aspect, I really appreciate that Sherry pointed out this tolerance and empathy, because I think it's a really good point and really valid point that I've never thought of. So I think I think if we view tolerance from this negative perspective, then I do agree that empathy goes beyond tolerance, because I guess if we see someone who is stealing stuff or stealing other people's purse, we cannot tolerate the bad behavior, but we can understand probably he's like super hungry, and then he's living in a very miserable situation, so we understand where he's coming from. That's, I guess, being empathetic, but we do not tolerate the behavior that he's causing harm to other people. So I think that's a valid point. I do agree with that, and it's something that I haven't thought of.
Okay, so you had a new insight about tolerance from what Sherry was saying, and it was about seeing someone who's stealing something that you can understand why they're doing what they're doing, and empathize with what they're doing, but you don't kind of put up with it.
Yeah, I'm fully heard.
Okay, great. Then
can I just to raise one observation? I think Chinese context tolerance is more about respect for the other person, for their differences, not so much of putting up with the other person. I mean, every person is different, right? So when there's a different perspective or different way of looking at things, you may not agree with the other person, but we have to respect, no? We agree to disagree, kind of thing.
okay, so I'm hearing that you're kind of adding one more point about we agree to disagree, and that there's a quality within the Chinese culture about respect, that we need to respect each other.
Yes.
So, okay. So good. So we'll, if everybody else, we're opening the door here. Is it like an emergency? Like you feel like you really have to be heard? So
Yes.
because we can. Oh, okay. I understand. Okay, we opened the door. Okay, quick. Yep.
Okay, and what came to my mind now is that you could I accept you as a person, even if I do not tolerate your behavior. That was what I heard from Sophie before. So that I accept you. You are a human being, yeah, with all your failures and yeah.
So what you're hearing, what Sophie's saying is that I accept you as a human being, but maybe I don't tolerate your actions or something like that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of acceptance of this human being. Yeah, that's that was
Okay,
what
so
I wanted to.
Yeah, you wanted to add that there's an acceptance of the person as a human being. Is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Then let's thank you everyone for that. Then we want to move on to our Google Doc now, where we had the intention setting, and we had, if you can bring that document, we've already explained the whole process of human-centered design, so we're moving on to step 1. So what we're doing now is we've done the prototype. Oh, we forgot I'm sorry, we didn't finish the empathy circle with a shared motion. So what is a motion that what is a feeling that you have now? Translate that into a motion, and everyone will mirror it. So this is mine. If everyone wants to kind of mirror, yeah, it's like the shoulders moving. So we're doing the synchronized motion, and synchronized motion can release oxytocin and get, which helps us become more empathic, is the theory behind that. So okay, I'm seeing. If everyone else wants to share one, I saw Jacob. Looked like you had one that you were doing. Okay, thank you. Next, would you like to go, Sophie?
Okay.
Feel fully seen there?
That's it.
Okay, Sherry, you got one?
I don't know. I kind of feel like Sophie's too. Like it's like yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impossible without sound. Yeah!
Yeah. Thank you. John?
Yes, peace sign.
Peace.
Okay.
Andreas?
Yeah, I actually would move a little bit up. Can you see this?
Having trouble seeing it. Oh, yeah, you have to up.
Do something good to your kidneys.
Oh, massage your kidneys?
Exactly.
Oh.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Andreas. Okay, so we had set our intention, which was to foster an empathic way of being, and we had set our candle here. And to close the circle now, we're going to take our intention and blow it out to the world. So we're sending our intention for empathy out into the world. So take a deep breath and let's blow our intention out. I'm getting over a cold, so I got so cough. So we're now moving into, we've done the circle, we started setting our intention, we did, we lit the candle, we did some mindfulness, we did some yoga, we did the empathic listening, we did the reflective motion, and then we blew our intention out to the world. So that's the full arc of our prototype. This is the prototype process that we're testing. And now we're going to go for the next hour and a half or so. We're going to redesign that to improve it, to make it more effective in fostering empathy. And we're going to, again, interview each other. And this is the mini design. So we're doing the kind of the minimal human-centered design process of empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So that's we're going to try to do as much as we can of this minimal mini design. And so we want to go in on page 4, step 1, write in a question that you would ask your partner about empathy, about their experience in here to kind of elicit insights about how to improve their experience with the empathy circle. So just write a question. Everybody write one question at least. And Sherry, if you're having trouble, does it work for you, or are you still having trouble with?
No, I'm in there now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we can go through and I'll just read them. So I'll start with the second one since the first one's still being written. Number 2, what rules do you make up about the empathy circle? What did you feel about Andreas's jumping in and out at the beginning? Okay. What was a challenging moment for you? How can you improve your empathy in the empathy circle discussion? 6 is, what does it feel like when you're not fully heard in a reflection and it is hard for the person to really hear you? What do? Just give up, say you are heard even if you are not heard? And then number 1 is, how might we connect and understand during the empathic listening? Okay, so those are some questions, and we have the other ones above. So we're going to go to the next section, actually go around doing interviews. So let's have Sophie interview Sherry. And we'll start with Sophie interviewing Sherry.
Okay.
And you can start with the interviews, and the rest of us will do transcriptions of what it is that we're hearing, and then we'll have 6 minutes. Okay, go.
Okay. I'm curious, Sherry. Since this is your first time doing empathetic circle, how did you feel this entire process?
So I actually did an empathy circle on Saturday. So this is actually my second one, and my experience, you know, I wrote down a couple of things that I thought it was, what's curious for me is that it is a one-way conversation. Well, it's not even a conversation, it's a one-way thing, and so I started asking questions to help me get clearer as to what John was saying. So I made up some rules that I couldn't ask questions, and so I don't know if I broke a rule, but I just started asking questions so I could get more clear, and I think that helps me to be more empathetic.
I see. So you're saying when you are listening to people, you prefer to ask clarifying questions to make sure you understand the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. And then were there any challenging moments for you, or yeah?
I think the challenging thing is when other people are doing their empathic listening of each other is, you know, as an observer, I might have questions as well to make sure that I understand. Yeah, so I felt that a little challenging because I wanted to ask questions and be curious and understand better.
I see. So you're saying when you are being the silent listeners, you would like a chance or a way to ask questions to make sure you understand.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Also, I'm curious, when you were speaking, how did you feel? Like your emotions, were there like any change of emotions, and how did you feel? Did you feel natural, challenging, or what else?
You know what just occurred to me is that, well, once again, I make up a rule. Like, these are rules that I make up for myself. I don't think they're written anywhere. Is that we, you know, don't want to exclude anyone. So I think what would have been I'm not going to say a better thing, but then again, it doesn't really feel like we can have a conversation. So I don't. Would have been, to go have you, Sophie, to listen to me around the tolerate thing. But yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just having this awareness around. I've made up rules that we can't have conversations in this. That it's just a one-way thing. Yeah.
Okay. So I hear this from what you're saying. I hear this strong need to, I guess, communicate instead of this one-way. I don't know, monologue. You feel like the need to like develop that into a conversation or have like this back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, I just feel like it's one person talks and then we just reflect back what we're hearing, and yeah, I think that it's taking it to maybe another level is actually being in the conversation with the person and being curious, and I don't know, I guess that's
Okay.
being part of empathetic as well. Yeah. So
Yeah,
really,
I guess.
Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
Sorry, I cut you off. I guess you kind of wanted to improve the structure of the empathetic circle or the way we do it. Like you think there may be other ways or rules that we can.
Because I'm making up that there's rules or something. I want to check these. Are these the rules?
I see. Okay. I guess that's all my questions.
Thanks, Sophie.
Okay, Sherry, if you want to interview Andreas, and the rest of us will transcribe. The transcription is on page 6 for that.
Okay. Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
So what was your experience of the empathy circle?
That's a very broad question. Yeah, I especially liked my part when I spoke to Sophie, because it was for me very a good way to express all these movements inside before with setting up the connection. And yeah, I felt absolutely understood also from her. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So your experience with the empathy circle was great because of you felt really heard by Sophie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with this listening, or when I was talking. Yeah.
Okay.
When thinking on the listening part, I also experienced that still these emotions were very alive inside myself, so I could not focus so much on could not focus 100% on the whole empathic listenings of the others.
What would have helped you with the emotions so you could be listening, like fully listening to the others? What would have helped you with those emotions?
Wow. Actually, I'm not sure if there would have been anything that would have helped me, but it needed only time so that this feelings could calm down a little bit, I would say. But actually, I did not feel troubles because I even decided then not to write down in the minutes of the meeting to give up the responsibility to other people, because there is the one person that listens, and somebody else, I think it was Edwin, who was taking the minutes at this point in time. So I could calm down and say, well, there are other people who are doing things that need to be done, and I can give this process inside myself the time it needs.
Right. Yeah. So I'm hearing, so some time was needed for you. So, you know, a comment that sticks out for me is that self-empathy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good sum up, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially then, when it was my turn to listen, yeah, there was no trouble to listen to the other person, yeah. So in the moment when I took over this responsibility of being the person in charge to practice the empathic listening, yeah, I felt again very comfortable with that.
Excellent. I just want to look at some of the other questions and ask you another question. Is there any rules? Is there any rules that you make up about the empathy circle?
If there is any rule?
Yeah. Do you make up any rules about the empathy circle? Maybe that's too broad.
Well, I would say the rule, at least that I saw, that yeah, it shall not turn into a conversation, but it's more keeping one person talking until this person feels understood, and yeah, maybe that's then the rule, yeah, to keep the focus as long on one person until this person feels completely understood.
Excellent. So the focus is on one person, just listening to them speak until they feel totally understood and heard. And do you make up that you can't ask questions, or
as an interviewer, you mean?
Yeah.
I think there is the possibility to ask questions, especially as for not all of us, the English language is the mother tongue. So if you do not understand a word or do not know what it means, I think it's good also for the interviewer to ask then how do you mean this word, or even to convince, not to tell the other person that I do not know this word. That's also possible that I have not heard about it at all.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
That's the time.
That-
That's 6 minutes, but finish your thought.
Okay, so I think in this way it's good to ask questions, because if not, the interviewer keeps in confusion him or herself. Yeah, and but the main task is to reflect back.
Okay,
Thank you.
so thanks, Andreas. Now, if you want to interview, let's see, who? Jacob.
Okay.
And it's and the notes are on page 7 if you want to take notes there. Please help with the transcriptions and others. Okay.
Okay, I'm interested. Also, this was my question I wrote down. I also want to know what was the perspective from the other persons. How did you feel about my jumping in and out at the beginning of the meeting? Which was actually a little bit before the empathy cycle, but yeah, it's still part of the whole process.
Yes, so I think you had some internet connection problems, and you could see in the group chat you left the group chat, joined the group chat. I mean, there were quite a few attempts, so you obviously were trying your best to get in, and you were being pushed out by your internet connection. So the thing was, I think it was probably a miss that you were not there to have the whole session, because I mean the initial part of the yoga and the music, and so it would have been starting off with a meditation. It always calms your mind and focuses your brain a bit. So those parts would have been helpful as well. So I thought it was probably a miss, but then this is something that is not in your control. So hey, what can you do?
Yeah, I heard that you summed up a little bit the process of me jumping in and out, and that you worried a little bit of if I can participate in the whole empathy cycle, or the today's conference. Yeah, would you say it like that?
I think I didn't really think that much because we were actually involved in other activities. So I was actually seeing you coming in and out, but we didn't really, at least I didn't really focus too much about that activity happening on the side, because we were actually doing other things.
So I heard that you were continuing with the process,
exactly. Yeah,
so we just coming together, and that you you noticed my trouble of getting the internet connection working, but it was not. It was fine for you also.
Yeah, because the only thing, I mean, obviously this happens in such online. Whether it's a Skype call or any other call, this is, I think, in my job-wise also I do this, so I have these problems very frequently, because internet connectivity is not something that we have always. So I am used to such drop in, drop out, and I am mentally used to such instances. So. I do not.
Okay.
I understand this is how it works. Yeah.
So you want to say that you could keep calm on this jumping in and out, because it was something. It wasn't not something new to you, but something that you experienced already before with such online gatherings.
That is correct. So we have a lot of online meetings, discussions, etc. So I have this is a common problem that sometimes people have low bandwidth, low internet speed, and people drop off and then they join later, and yeah. So this happens, and I'm used to it, and so that is why I didn't feel any difficulty in this.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I feel also completely answered that you answered my question.
Yeah.
So if it's fine, we move on to another one. Yeah, what do you think? How could you improve your empathy in the empathy cycle discussion?
Oh, okay, that was my question. So I was planning to ask that to someone. But anyway, so I didn't quite have the answer, so that was I was trying to ask someone else the answer. but
Okay, so actually you feel it's a funny situation now. You're very excited because I asked you the question you wanted to have an answer on from the others.
Yes, exactly. So so I think I'm trying to evaluate how I can better understand, better hear the other person. So I'm trying to see, maybe one of the things is having more patience. So having because sometimes when one or two sentences a person speaks, if it is not really understandable or it is off topic, sometimes I stray into the territory of switching off. So I think I'm trying to see whether I can be more patient, listen more in terms of what the person is saying, and then try to understand what he's trying to communicate. So I think this is something that probably I've picked up over the last week, and I hope that I can pick up more of these and practice and employ them in my daily work and play.
Okay, so that's the time. Now Jacob interviews John, and that's on page 8 for us to transcribe. Take notes. And please help with the transcriptions. I've been doing a lot of them, so it's kind of hard to keep up.
Okay, John. So what was your experience of today's empathy discussion? Do you feel you improved from last week?
My feeling is that we sort of try to rephrase and try to pick up and the meaning behind what the person is saying and try to reflect back the feeling. But I thought that maybe as Sherry was mentioning about having a conversation or having a dialogue is maybe it could be a much better approach to empathic listening. Like asking some related questions to the context of the session, or maybe clarify certain asking questions to clarify and maybe but it also maybe to be there physically for the person that the person can feel your presence, that you're physically present there for him or her. So, but I don't know how we can do it in a Google Hangout like this. More of a physical, one-to-one kind of, presence they're talking about. So, other than that, I think we also I think we need to also to relate to the person in other contexts, in other ways, other than reflecting and dialogue. Maybe in the physical and social and maybe emotional level, how to like respond in the appropriate way to the person's emotion, so that the person feel what I call relaxed and feel that he's been heard and understood.
You talked about a discussion, a conversation.
Yes.
Do you think that a conversation or a discussion would stop the person from communicating or
I don't think so. It's
speaking his word out?
because I mean, empathy have to be two-way, cannot be just one-way street where somebody talk and the other person listen only. It has to be exchange of energy, exchange of energy between two persons.
So what you're saying is that you listen out the person completely and then you respond.
What I meant is that I need to understand the person. Where is he coming from? His context of his speech, of his sharing, so that you have to understand the context, the person's feeling, the person's background, where all this context comes from. So you have to understand as much as possible, not just the feeling, but also the social aspect, the physical aspect.
So what you're saying is that if you have these multi-dimensional understanding of a person, does that mean that you will be able to respond better to the person?
I think so. For example, if you talk to someone, if it's only a one-way listening or one-way talking, then if you like, this not connected with the person, a bit disengaged. So I think to be engaged with fully two-way, it has to be kind of dialogue, not just speaking and listening.
Okay, so completely to change the topic of discussion, the question that I would like to know is that the question I wrote down as well. How would you improve empathy in the empathy discussion that we are having today or going to have?
To improve, as I mentioned earlier, is to fully engage with the person at not just a feeling level, also social level, physical level, to be physically present with the person. The person can feel your presence physically, that you're hearing him or her, and more importantly, that the person can feel that you understand what he's trying to reflect to you.
So in this electronic age, this might be difficult, right? Because you can't always be physically present. You can't always meet the person physically. Does that mean that our empathy is not going to improve or it's going to deteriorate, in fact, as we go?
Of course, our internet connection is important. The video, the audio, and the streaming of the video, so that we get sort of a real-time connection. But of course, more important is when you are with someone physically, there is a more important context, that you can be there physically with the person to listen and to respond in an empathic manner.
Okay, that's the time. So next is, thank you, next is John interviews me. So, and that will be the note taking you can take on page 9. It says John interviews Edwin. So,
so basically, I think it's the same question. What was your experience of the empathy circle today?
I like the yoga part. It was I had thought about the yoga that maybe there could be a more of a sitting yoga. It was a little hard to stand up and have the earbuds and all that because you have to kind of like stretch. So kind of technically it was a little problem with the earbuds, having the distance. But I liked that we were all moving and standing. I did like to stand. On one hand, I liked the standing up. On the other, I thought, well, maybe there could be a yoga for sitting, kind of more of a. But I don't know. That's just some thoughts.
Or maybe empathic yoga.
Yeah, like an empathy yoga. So some kind of empathy yoga. That'd be an idea. So I'm not quite sure what that would look like. So I mean, on one hand, I just for everything you do, there's also another. Just sitting has one thing. You're still kind of sitting fixed. The standing up was nice. It got everybody moving and kind of got us more spacious. So there's kind of like different effects for each action. So so I'm not sure, but yeah. So that was one thing. There's I'm hearing. Let's see what else is coming up. I better hit the timer here. What else came up? I'm seeing people are starting to learn how to practice the empathic listening, and I guess I was just, as a facilitator, I had mentioned it before, I was hoping that people are kind of feeling okay with it, because it takes time to really learn this process, and it takes, like anything, it takes 100 hours to kind of get comfortable with it. It takes 1,000 hours to become an expert and 10,000 hours to become a master at it. So I guess just being aware of that part. And so I feel that people are starting to get into it, starting to practice it. So I thought that was good. So I felt good about that.
Okay. So what do you think we can improve on this empathic practice?
I think that one of the best practices, I had offered to do a empathy circle Saturday, and Friday, that's tomorrow, and nobody had signed up, is to do a full 2-hour empathy circle where we don't have a design part to it, where we only totally practice empathy, empathic listening, because we usually do about 40 minutes. And 40 minutes doesn't give you the full experience of it. It takes time to kind of settle into it. And from my experience, it takes, about 2 hours. It takes 2 hours to kind of start settling into it, get familiar with it, and then people start relaxing, and then the connection becomes deeper and deeper. So I guess for improvement, one thing would be is to have some empathy circles that are full 2-hour empathy circles so people get familiar with it. The second part is if people start doing empathy circle with their family, friends, and start getting the experience of leading a circle too. I think that would kind of help too. Kind of deepen the experience. You were wanting to kind of train that empathic listening muscle, and I know from experience that empathic listening is like the #1 most powerful tool that I know of for practicing empathy, and it takes time to learn it.
Okay. So so far about our empathy, our teams 8. I mean, do you suggest any? Do you think it's better to have a specific direction to our practice, instead of just comes up with anything that we ad hoc basis?
So do do we talk about a specific topic
Yes.
versus just whatever comes up to
Yes.
you? Yeah, I wonder about that myself. We did have a specific topic, which was why empathy is important to us. And I wonder that whole question, whatever the question is, has an effect on what we talk about. And I want to do that for kind of this focus, have like one topic that we dig into deeply and that gather a lot of insight about that one topic. So that's one thing I've been thinking about. But then there's also people have feelings that is alive for them in the moment, like Andreas felt some stress about being in the circle, and so by him being able to share where he is in the moment, he was able to kind of relieve that stress and I believe feel more connected to everyone. So there is the importance of people being able to share how they feel in the moment in terms of helping them feel more connected. So I kind of struggle with that too, like do we speak about whatever comes up, or do we have a clear focus? So the way I was trying to address it was, we have the focus, but you can always say what's alive for you in the moment.
So since you have led a couple of empathy circle, what's your overall comment on how to better improve on the connection and understanding during empathic listening?
Yeah, so how do we, after all this experience, what's the best way of improving? And I would say practice, 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 practice. It's just doing it over and over again, and I really think that doing it for at least 2 hours together would really help. And then to take it with your family and friends to try holding an empathy circle and practice, practice, practice. So that's the first part, is the practice, and then there's other pieces that we can add to it, but we need that basic foundation, is my sense. That's just my opinion. So I think that's the time as well.
Okay.
So we just,
all right.
So clear. And so the last one is Edwin interviews Sophie. And then page 10 is where the note-taking takes place, if you want to take. So, okay. So can you tell me just what comes up for you around having done this empathy circle today?
I think, so since this is my second time doing it, I'm more familiar with the structure and form. And I guess I didn't feel as stressed as last time, because last time I didn't know how it would turn out, but this time I know what it is, and then I feel more relaxed. And then I felt that when John was hearing me, I wasn't 100% heard, I felt. I think John was adding a little comment to what I said instead of completely.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah. So I'm hearing that this is the second time you've done the empathy circle, and now you're kind of getting more comfortable with the process, and and also in terms of when you were speaking to John, that you didn't really feel fully heard by John, that you felt that he was adding something extra to what you were saying.
Yeah, I think, instead of reflecting on what I said, I think John was actually developing it into a conversation. So I think he was building on what I said. And yeah, instead of just paraphrase or reflecting on what I said. So and I don't know, I guess for the time's sake, I didn't really insist, and I didn't, I guess, give him feedback at the moment. But I wonder if I should have done that. I guess that's maybe, I guess I was kind of didn't want to break a rule, so I just kept going. Maybe if I felt something that wasn't quite what we expected, maybe I should speak it out.
So you, with in terms of the reflection, you weren't really, you're hearing him kind of create a conversation and add stuff, and you were wondering what to do in that situation, and you thought maybe you should have addressed it in the moment, and you're just kind of like, I'm hearing kind of like wondering what to do in that situation.
Yeah. Maybe we should add a rule, make up a rule that's just give feedback immediately if something is not on the right track.
Yeah, because I was noticing you were a little bit frustrated that you weren't really being heard, and then you're just saying, okay, we're out of time, I'm just going to pretend I'm being heard. But so what is the feeling that you have? Like, here it is, you're saying something, somebody's not reflecting back just what you're saying, but adding stuff. What is the feeling that you have from that? What is the quality of feeling that it elicits in you?
I did feel a little frustrated that I was not being heard, that the other side was just building on what I said. Also, yeah, I have this wonder of whether I should break this rule of just me saying and just give him feedback. So I also had this wonder, I guess this confusion or wonder or something.
So it's kind of like two feelings I'm hearing so far. One is you're not being heard back, so you're feeling kind of frustrated. And then the other part is maybe you're wondering if it was a rule that you can't tell him that you're feeling frustrated.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like wondering, should I say, hey, I'm really frustrated because you're not hearing me? Yeah.
That's kind of my two major feelings.
Okay. Is there more around that, or is that the kind of the main part around that? I could say in terms of, you can say anything you want as the speaker. If you're feeling frustrated, you know, whatever you want, you can say whatever you're wanting to say in that case.
Yeah.
So okay.
But also, I think I felt it could be interesting for people to observe this, that like this could be an interesting case of like not a very successful empathic listening, but we can reflect on this. So I think it's a good thing because we're all practicing.
Yeah, so you're seeing that this could be just a learning experience because we're all trying to learn here, and we can just learn to get better by sharing this frustration and so forth, because then we can get better at it. And so you're seeing it as a growing learning, a possibility for a growing learning experience.
Yeah, because actually I think after we all share this comment, I actually feel that a lot of us have this need to have a conversation instead of just taking in information one way. So I guess it's also reflected in other people's interview questions. So I guess that's maybe something that we should discuss.
Yeah, so it's kind of this, a lot of people are saying, oh, I really want kind of more conversation and back and forth, and I want more freedom to have this. Versus just listening. So what is the quality of having a conversation versus just being clearly practicing that listening component? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah, I think that's super important to have that, because it seems that listening, because we're really practicing just that piece of listening, and it takes a lot to just settle, let go, and just listen and give that person your full attention for the time until they feel fully heard. Because I guess there is the rule. We do have the rule that the person speaking can be fully heard. So
yeah.
Okay, well, great. Then that was 6 minutes. So then, great. So what we want to do now is is we'll go through, take about 5 minutes to clean up the interviews. And just because we did a lot of quick writing, we're going to clean them up a little bit. And then the person that you interviewed, read over that interview, help clean it up a little bit, and then we'll pick out one important insight. But I'll come back to that. So just let's take about 5 minutes to clean those interviews up. Okay, so what we're doing next, if we go on to step 2, which is page 12, is we're doing the empathy map. So we've done our empathy. We've empathized with our fellow circle members, and we've gathered these interviews. We've empathized with them, gathered the insights. So we want to start defining a problem area that we see. And so what we'll do in the empathy map, we start creating a picture of the person. And so we will go through, and the person that you interview, you can review the interview, and then put your name and then the person you interviewed there in the box, and just put one sentence or so of your insight that you feel is the most important insight that you have about that person and their experience, and then check what their feelings, what is the feeling that they're having related to that insight, and what is the underlying need that you're guessing that they have. So we're going to take about 5 minutes for that, and take it away. We've got about 1 minute and 30 seconds for this part. There's also, if you see above, it says sample feelings and needs, and there's a document that has a list of feelings and needs, and if you print that out, it's really handy to have that, you know, at your table, at your desk, to stimulate ideas around feelings and needs, to have a set of words and vocabulary around it. Okay, so I think we're ready for, what we want to do now is go through, share our insight, share what we are seeing as the feeling and also as the underlying need that the person has. So I'll start, since I was first here. I interviewed Sophie, and my insight was that Sophie felt a little bit uncomfortable when John added some personal comments to his reflection. She did not feel fully heard and had questions about how to deal with that. And I was seeing that her feelings are, she felt frustrated, maybe uncomfortable, unsure, had some confusion, and that what she was really needing was to feel heard and feel seen, and was also needing some clarity. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I think it captures what I felt pretty accurately.
Okay, then you're next. Your insight, Sophie?
Yeah. When I was interviewing Sherry, I can feel that Sherry has doubts and comments about like the form of the empathy circle, about like this one-way transmission of our thoughts, and I think she wondered if it'll be better to have more back and forth, because sometimes she's curious about what other people are saying and she wants to ask clarifying questions, or she wondered if it would be better to have a conversation so they can take it to the next level. So it's not like a one-way thing, it's actually a conversation. So I think what Sherry felt was confused and unsure about the rules of the empathy circle. And then I think what she needs is clarity, and I put spontaneity because I think Sherry feels this form is kind of a little bit restraining her, and maybe sometimes she wants to be able to ask some questions when she wants. And then also I think she wants effectiveness, like how to make it better. That's it.
Okay. How does that land for you, Sherry?
Yeah, that's.
Hit the nail on the head, or
Yeah,
or is there more?
yeah, I would say for the most part, yes. I'm not sure about. I think my thing is wanting to ask questions just for clarity to make sure I understand what I'm hearing, not so much a conversation per se, but yeah, I feel I could be more engaged. Yeah,
Okay.
that's spot on.
So it's clarity and engagement where the engagement is the underlying need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great insight.
Yes.
Okay, John?
Yeah, basically, from what I've interviewed Edwin, he has led many empathy circles. So, from experience, he felt that sometimes there's a need for the moment, people to have feelings at that moment that they want to share. So, and also need to think about whether to focus on a specific topic in detail that we can explore. And so basically there's this tentative feeling between this need for the moment and focus on a specific topic.
Yeah, it was. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Were
Your
you
feedback?
done, or?
Yeah, your feedback.
So yeah, this was a real problem I've been thinking about the last couple days. So I just added, I've been feeling frustrated and confused about what the best question is to ask. I've really been looking, the need I have is for effectiveness. So I'm just adding that here. So I mean, this has been a big problem for me of like what the question is, and not having, and I'm actually needing clarity too, because I'm just feeling unclear about what the most effective way is, and I'm feeling kind of like frustration and confusion about what to really do around this. So yeah, it feels really good to kind of express that too. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay, the next one is Jacob interviews John. And you're muted, Jacob.
Yeah, so the one insight that I got from John's interview was basically around what he said. Empathy is two-way exchange of energy between two people. So I thought that was very interesting, and maybe in an interview it's not fully the duality of the energy, and the duality of the conversation doesn't happen. So that was something that was interesting. So what John felt was, I think, in my mind, probably the conversation or the what was said was unclear, or and he was unsure of what was being what he heard. So I think that was what I felt, and he would have probably liked a little more clarity, and that was what I felt was the need. Yeah, so that was John. What do you feel that was I captured what you had explained?
Okay. From my perspective, I think basically my feeling is more of a engagement, more of a dialogue, not so much of just rephrasing and reflecting. More of a connection and how to better understand the other person through a dialogue. So I mean, yeah, clarity, connection, engagement, understanding. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
that
basically
those.
these are the theme that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So Sherry, with Andreas, your insights.
Yeah, so I may not have captured this correctly here, but it had something to do with the coming in and out of the empathy circle today. And I got that Andreas was feeling a little frustrated. And I think the frustration was feeling disconnected and so then the needs, I would say, were around not feeling like he was connected and yeah, so not feeling that connection and belonging to the empathy circle. Yeah. Andreas?
Yeah, actually, I also read what Edwin was writing. I mean, of course, there were some worries about this jumping in and out. I didn't feel so much frustration or not even disconnected because there was a lot of acceptance, yeah, inside myself. So okay, let it go. Whatever happens, it's okay. Yeah. It was more of worrying, but not of being frustrated about it. Yeah. And especially when I spoke then to Sophie, yeah, I absolutely felt connected. Yeah. So the feelings that this is that the needs, I would totally agree with connection and belonging. Yeah. But knowing, I don't know for why, but I knew it's, even if I'm not there this time, I'm connected and I belong to this group.
Oh.
Excellent.
So you had this feeling of belonging then. So the frustration, disconnection didn't work, but you had the worry, and then but you had a sense of a feeling of belonging.
Yeah.
Okay. And the need for belonging, and it was it. And okay, great. So Andreas, oh, we have the next one is Andreas, interviewee Andreas. Did we?
How did you do that?
No, actually, I had an insight and I focused on what I said by myself.
Great. What is? Okay, do you want to share it?
It was some self-empathy in.
Okay.
So, but my insight was that it's okay to ask questions also as the listener, yeah, because if you don't understand something properly because the connection was bad, you did not get the word, you did not understand the word, it's impossible also to reflect back what the other person said, and in that case there is no chance to give the other person the feeling that this person feels understood. And yeah, so for me this is very important to allow also to give this allowance to ask questions if you did not understand something correctly from this point of view. Yeah.
Okay. And that's insecurity, kind of a feeling of insecurity and need for clarity.
Yeah, concerning having this rule, yeah, to have this clear, yeah, of course you can ask questions of what can you repeat this last sentence, or can you explain this word because I don't know it. Yeah, it's necessary. Yeah, otherwise the other person, yeah, has no chance to feel understood because you did not understand.
Okay, so I would add one point is real quickly is that when we reflect what we heard the person say, the reflection is kind of in a question. So it's like we don't know if we've heard the person accurately. So we are kind of having an implied question is I'm hearing you say this. Is this what you're saying? And so I want to say there is a question within that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and with you had Andreas, you interviewed Jacob in your insight.
I added then another one.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that Jacob felt okay with my jumping in and out at the beginning, as this was very something familiar to him with video call meetings. Yeah. And yeah, I had not the time to add the feelings, but ease sounds good to me. And but yeah, first it's the word to Jacob. If this is what you wanted to say.
It's correct. It's very much correct. So as I mentioned, it was yeah, I didn't feel any frustration or any difficulty in when you had the difficulty getting in and out. So it was absolutely okay for me, at least.
Okay, so we want to do next. We'll move to the step 4, which is on page 14, and we want to define one problem area. And we're starting to define. We're going to lay out what we see as the problem, and then try to merge them all down to one problem statement that we have to work on. So just take about a minute and just write down like one problem that you are seeing, you know, from your interviews.
I will shortly leave for the toilet.
Okay, yeah, I had to go a little while before. Okay, so what we want to do now is share those and see if there's some commonalities and bunch them together and start bringing them down. So John, you had the need to improve on engagement dynamics during the empathic listening process. I said there is some lack of clarity with the ground rules and the reasons for them in the empathic listening process. The next one is there is a need to decide what kind of topic to select for people to share. Is it specific topic or whatever that comes up to the person on that day? What topic works better? There is a need for more engagement and feeling more connected. And the last one haven't been written yet. So how do we merge these? Do we see a commonality? For example, I mean, feel free to kind of move them around. So I'm seeing that the first one and this one are both around engagement. So there's a commonality there. Do you see other commonalities?
I think so. If we select the right types of topics, it can actually increase engagement, I think. so people will be more engaged in this process. If the
question there, how might we select the right topics to foster engagement?
Yeah, and I guess connectivity. Yeah, connection. Yeah.
Connection. Okay. Other ideas? Sherry, do you have any thoughts?
No, I would agree that I think the topic would help with engagement. Yeah.
John?
Yeah, basically the quality of the empathic listening process, engagement, connection.
Okay. Jacob or Andreas?
So I'm just thinking whether there is some material on the web or some research paper or some public information that would help us, or some reference material which would help us to find some answers to improving the listening part, the empathic listening part itself.
Okay, so well, at this point we're looking at just getting to the problems. The how might we is actually kind of a jump ahead. So we're trying to hone in what is our common, what is the problem we see, and what I was hearing, you were looking for solutions already, which is great. Because
right.
We want to wait until the solution part because we want to hone in on a problem we want to work on. So
okay.
Andreas, a quick comment?
Yeah, for me, I didn't write something down for myself, but what I read, or what I read now, is that how to find a good question where people feel ready to give answer, and maybe even which increases this feeling of engagement and of being connected. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's vote then. Which is the one that you vote for that we move forward with as a kind of a problem statement? Just put your name next to it. How about if we change it topic and question, Andreas, or whoever's the right topic question? Or how does that work for people? I just saw somebody was reading the question, so the right topic question. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got 3 votes. Do we have another one? We have John, so looks like that one wins. And so our problem, actually we kind of jumped ahead and created the how might we statement, even took our problem, which the problem was kind of the effectiveness, I guess, of the topic question and how it affects engagement and connection. So we're actually moving forward to step 5 now, And we actually have our how might we question already done, which is great. So how might we select the right topic question to foster engagement and connection? I love this topic, people, because I've been struggling with it. So I'm so glad this is the topic that we're going to do. So, so we don't even need to go through the process of selecting it, because we do have our how might we question. So what we're doing next is with the brainstorming, we're moving on to step 6. And we have our how might we question, and we're going to take a sheet of paper. You can divide it into sections, and we're going to take about 5 minutes to brainstorm at home and on the paper. And the advantage of doing it on paper is that
Sorry, I will mute myself.
Okay. So let's quickly just brainstorm ideas, put them on papers, you can draw it, and then transfer them to the Google document too.
Can we write it in the?
Yeah, you can put it in the Google Doc directly if you like.
How can you write it? Is it possible to directly write into
Yeah,
that
on
2x3 into that 2x3 matrix?
Oh no, you can write it on page 17. It says write brainstorm ideas below. That's page
Okay.
17.
Okay.
case you'll be writing into the Google Doc. We only have about 2 minutes left. Okay, so we just want to quickly go through and share these. We'll just go right down the list, and once the person who's sharing it, you can see what they shared, and you can add your own ideas and write down ideas, you know, after what they write, just to kind of play off of their ideas. So I'll start. It's like the first thing I'm thinking about the questions is to create a web page just about question, or maybe a Google Doc about questions, you know, start a conversation. And and then look at what is the effect of each question and do an actual mini test. And actually first start with everybody coming up with a list of questions that we could use, and then we go through and test the questions, and we do a little bit of a prototype around each question, and then have an evaluation of it. Like, does this question have a high, low, medium level to it? So, for example, we have the alive. What is alive? What is alive? This is a sample. So here's for each person, just go through and just quickly rate how that "what is alive for you" question. After we do it, we evaluate it. So just take one of those and then just vote on it. Like how alive do you feel when you hear? What's your engagement level when you hear someone say they are sharing what's alive for them around that question? I don't know. This is a test. If anybody wants, for me, it's like an 8 on the level. Like when we say what's alive for you, I kind of feel a level of engagement is 8. So everybody would just go through and vote. So that's mine. Sophie?
Yeah, I actually went into thinking about what questions would be the better types of questions. So I think it should be some questions that everyone has something to talk about. It's, I guess, maybe more like connecting with other people on the personal level, talk about their personal experience, like what they've been thinking about recently, what they feel happy, angry, confused about recently, and why. So I guess by sharing personal experience, we may be able to better understand where the person's coming from, and better understand our difference or commonalities, and to increase engagement. I guess my point is to connect with others on the personal level.
Okay, yeah. So ask questions that engage kind of a more emotional, personal
Yeah.
level. Okay. Yeah, like asking just specifically to build on that, ask something about fears or concerns or anxieties you're dealing with in your life at the moment. That's kind of like something. Yeah, okay. Jacob?
Yeah, so I too had some suggestions around questions and topics around that. So find topics that are generic and common, where there are things to talk about. So it can be some areas which where people are interested in, which are people's interest areas. So if people talk more, they connect more, and there's an engagement, there's a better engagement. So I think that can be one of the things that can be explored. The other is to ask open-ended questions, so giving a lot of room to the person to answer, whereby again the conversation can go into places which were not planned, or and again that can lead to a lot of interest and new information. So this was basically the two points that I thought could add value.
Okay. Andreas, you're next.
Okay. My ideas were to collect questions before and then to vote. A little bit as you wrote also down, as we already did also with the needs and problems before. So what to choose then, or also by systemic consenting. So not to ask where are the most people for, but where is the less unlikeliness to take this question. Then something would be an idea to choose a topic for what's currently on the global news. In Europe, the refugee situation from Syria is something that brings a lot of emotions to people. So usually, I don't know if this is also a topic in other regions or not. Then I think it's also nice to invite people to share personal stories of their lives. When have you ever experienced this or that? Some kind of questions like this. Also to ask for best practice examples. And ask questions that allow people to introduce themselves. I think would be right now still interesting for all of us, so that we become more familiar with each other also. Yeah.
You complete?
And yeah,
okay.
John is the next in the
John?
document.
Yeah, basically, what I mentioned seems to be some have been mentioned beforehand by others. Basically, mine is to just to identify common interests. What is it that we can identify among us that that will be interested to us as a group, and then basically to vote lah, which is the most important. Then we focus on that chosen topic. And we also need to come up with some practical effective practices to improve this empathic listening process by improving the engagement and connection, and hopefully to enhance understanding. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Sherry? You're muted.
Sorry. My suggestion was that just if everyone wanted to bring a topic to the empathy circle, and then we could choose which one was more compelling for everyone. And then I just wrote down some questions, like, you know, we're all here around the empathy, like how could we come up with an engaging topic around that? And also to the human-centered design, like maybe there's a question around that and how we're each using it. I don't know.
Okay. So that was it. So we have all these different ideas. We've run out of time. So what we'd be trying to do is hone in on one kind of project to work on. And if we go to the next step, page 19, like next steps is what do we do? So we can come up with some ideas here. What I'm suggesting, I could create a separate Google Doc with the ideas that we have here. And during the week, we can start organizing it and maybe move towards everybody writing down some questions and then vote on the question and have, you know, come together work on what will be the guiding question at the next meeting. So how does that kind of work for people, or any additions? The other thing is I thought of is there could even be, like we go through for an hour doing a dialogue on a topic, that we could even create like an article afterwards, like create a finished paper on kind of what was talked about, is a sense of creating meaning and kind of harvesting. So those are some ideas. I don't know how everybody else is on that. We could quickly go around, you know, add any ideas to this or thoughts.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, so I think maybe what I liked Edwin's second idea was basically taking a topic and just going around with it and actually practicing it. Probably coming out with the actual after the end of a session, then actually trying to distill it into a set of ideas. I think that might be very interesting. So we can actually do a practice session and then try to see what we can get out of it. Probably might work.
Okay, John, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think what Sherry and Jacob have said. Yeah. For me, I think it's good to have specific questions, not general questions, specific questions, and that we want to address, and then come up with some suggestion on how to proceed.
Okay, so have like specific questions instead of broad general ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Andreas?
Yeah, I like the idea to collect some questions and to vote then. And yeah, we will see if the more specific ones or the more broad ones get more votes.
Okay, yeah, we'll go by the votes. We'll see. Okay, great. Okay, so that's the challenge then for our prototype. We want to focus on the questions. I'm going to create a Google Doc. I'll send the link to everybody. Go in and we'll copy all this material in there. We'll start organizing it. We'll start posing some questions. we'll kind of shape it and then vote on which question. We need one question that everybody, that we've either voted for or everybody agrees on for the next discussion, for the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good? Thumbs up? It's like up, down, or is that okay? We got thumbs up. Okay. So, what's our closing ritual? Anybody got a ritual to close with? A yoga stretch?
Like,
Yeah.
that was hard work.
Okay, come on, let's get a round of applause here. This is a great. Woo! Okay, good job, folks. Yes, very good. So the thing is we do know that Sophie, you can't meet on this day because you have work, right? So you're going to move to Wednesday. Is that still?
Is that possible?
Yeah, it's doable. I mentioned it to the group there. So.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just that you had Sophie had 2 weeks vacation, so there was one person in the other group that's not coming regularly. So actually, you could have been there yesterday because she wasn't there. So we could actually take one more person for this group if you know of somebody too.
Okay.
So sad to see you go, but you'd mentioned
Yeah.
it before when we first started. So
We will miss you.
yeah.
Yeah, I will miss everyone.
Well, what about doing an empathy circle? How are people's time with doing a full 2-hour empathy circle on a different day? I'd suggested it for tomorrow. People didn't sign up, so maybe next week or something where we do a full 2-hour or an hour and a half only empathy, not design. I'm just wondering, how does that work for anybody? Any ideas?
You mean a separate session, Erin?
Yeah, it would be a separate session, only an empathy circle to kind of practice. Oh, that was the other thing is our task is also to begin practicing empathy circles, family, friends, and kind of start prototyping it. Even do a little one with your, partner or some friends to start teaching it to others and get experience and write up a little report was the other piece. And I created on the website, I created a research section so we can write up reports. And if you see, there's a research section, and I'll share that real quick. Share, and this is it here. So this is the research section, and this is a little write-up I did. My partner and I, we did an empathy circle, and I just wrote up a little report. So it's just a model of something you can do as well. So with that, I'll just say we're complete, and sorry for keeping you over 6 minutes.
That's all right. Thanks very much, Edwin.
Okay.
Thank
So-
you.
Take care.
See you
Thanks.
online then
See you
with,
soon.
on the document. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.